Hello and welcome back to the Double Feature Podcast. I'm Charlie.
I'm Elliot, and this is episode 7. We're going to be doing an Invincible focused one.
Yeah.
Realistically, it would have been better to do it last week. It was a bit fresher, but we had our Spider-Man one planned.
Yeah.
I'll just go through what we're going to do. Obviously, like normal, we've got what we've watched in the week, a little bit of news. We're then going to be starting with Invincible Season 1, a recap of the season. Season 2, the same thing, and then with Season 3 we'll go through every episode in a bit more detail. We're then I've got a couple of questions for you. I don't know if you've written anything that were on the page, but we've got a King of the Hill for Invincible. We've got a Speak When You Hear a Better Movie Than, and we'll talk what movie it is later. A draft and a blind ranking. Shouldn't be too long of a one today, but I'm looking forward to it. So do you want to go through what you've watched this week?
Yeah, it's been a long week. I've watched 2 movies.
Damn.
And that's American Psycho and The Shining.
Damn, that was early on as well.
Yeah.
Had a couple of days off. We will point out, it won't make much of a difference, but we're recording this a day forward than normal.
Yeah.
So we've had 6 days, not 7.
And usually we get through at least one movie on a Saturday.
Yeah.
But yeah, American Psycho, I didn't like it as much as the first time I watched it. Still gave it a 4-star. I think Christian Bale was great in it.
Yeah.
The Shining, first time watching for both of us.
Yeah.
Brilliant. I loved it.
Yeah.
I can't wait to watch more Stanley Kubrick films.
Yeah. I've watched 5 this week. It's been 4 this week. It's been a very heavy rewatch for me this week. The Shining is the only new movie. Again, I thought it was brilliant. It's everything I expected it to be. It's just very good. There's not much more I can add to it that hasn't been said.
No. Jack Nicholson was
the
great.
45 years it's been out.
Yeah.
Again, though, stands up brilliantly. American Psycho, like Charlie said, didn't enjoy it as much the second time round. I still think it's a brilliant movie, but that first time just hit a bit harder. I then watched Dead Poets Society for the second time. Loved it possibly even more. I watched it with my mum on Wednesday. I don't know if I've mentioned it on the podcast yet. I have a bit of a rule with my 5 stars.
Yes.
I don't give anything a 5-star until the second time. So this has been sat at a 4.5 for 2 months now, I think. It's at a 5-star now. It's also in my top 5 movies ever, which means that Robin Williams is in 2 of my top 5 movies, which is pretty impressive. I then watched Her last night, most of it anyway. It was another one that I had at a 4.5 and wanted to put it up to a 5, and I really believed it was going to go up to a 5, and it hasn't. It was a lot harder to get into the second time round.
It's quite a slow film.
The first act is sort of meant to make you feel awkward, which you can get through the first time because you don't know what's coming.
I mean, rewatching Joaquin Phoenix have his moment with himself in his bed is a bit
with your mum as well,
I forgot you did that. Not with Joaquin Phoenix's mum.
No. It was a bit of an odd one. My mum couldn't get into it either, which obviously puts a damper on it. But you've got a bit of news.
I've got news. I would also like to say that we have been watching the Inside series this week on Netflix.
And I've gone over to my friend's house twice this week to watch it with him. So that was 2 nights I couldn't watch any movies. But we got 2 episodes left, I think.
Just remembered, I had 2 nights ago. I watched the first 40 minutes of Howl's Moving Castle.
Okay.
Liked it. I was just really tired, and I was like, I could have sat for another hour 20,
Yeah.
but I had to be up reasonable.
Yeah.
So I just turned it off, and
Yeah.
I will carry on watching that at some point.
Side note, it's not really what we talk about on this podcast. Who's your favourite and least favourite person on Inside right now?
Favourite? Oh, probably George. George Clarkey. Least favourite? I was about to say Manrika, but that was last season. Is it Maya?
Maya, really?
Yeah, she's when it was between her and
Patrice.
no, the other one that went out recently. Doesn't begin with her.
Really?
No, before maybe.
Farah?
Yeah.
It wasn't between her and Farah?
No.
Between George and Farah?
Yeah, but when they did the challenge and they were both in the room and they had to pick,
Yes, yeah.
everyone was like, Farah's told us she needs the money more.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, well, I wear nice things,
Yeah.
so I also need it.
Yeah.
And I saw
That
a
wasn't
clip,
quite her argument.
No. but George Clarkey, I
Mm.
saw a clip of him reacting to it and he googled how much her bracelets were.
Yeah.
They were about 40 to
Yeah,
40 grand each,
yeah.
which is crazy. She's got like 100 grand on her arm.
It is a bit crazy. One thing I will say, just because Farah has the least money in there doesn't mean she doesn't have a lot of money. But I get the argument that she should be the one with. Well, she's not going to win the money now.
Yeah.
She's out of it. But,
Yeah. But I mean, if she turned around and said like, I think I should say because I'm more included in the conversations, that would have been a better
It wasn't
argument.
a great argument.
No, it wasn't.
No. I agree. George was my favourite going into this, and he is still my favourite. I kind of wish there was other people in there that got his sense of humour, because a lot of his humour falls flat at the moment, which is a shame, because I love him.
Yeah.
My least favourite is quite easily Whitney.
Yeah.
Whitney or PK Humble. I think
I am growing to dislike him more and
Yeah.
more.
if
Have you
George
seen his
goes out
songs?
because of either of them,
Yeah.
I will personally
Yeah,
cancel
yeah.
both of their careers.
Have you seen the PK Humble stuff since the show, like in the past
No.
week? He was talking very heavily with Maya,
Mm.
and DDG rang him up and said like, can you stop? I don't know
I
why.
swear that was whilst he was reacting to the show.
It
Well,
was.
It was a joke.
Yeah, and then on Jason's stream, joke or not, I don't know, Jason rang up Sinner and PK was on there and just said like, you have a nice ass, and it was awkward
It
on
was,
the
it was a
stream,
bit of a,
and it's like you don't say
yeah,
that.
it was a bit of a.
Yeah, and it was more awkward because Sinner just said, I'm not interested, hang up, which was a bit odd.
Mm.
But I
I
really like
like-
Jason in there.
I like Sinner. I wish he'd like come out of her shell a bit more. 'Cause I like
Well,
Sinner.
that's just her as a person,
Yeah,
isn't it? She's always like that one.
But anyway, do you want? Should we talk about movies?
Yeah,
and
let's-
stuff like that.
well, let's
Except
not
for-
talk about
except
movies.
for the whole next hour and a half.
Yeah. Let's talk about movie news then.
Yeah.
Have you got anything?
I would like to point out I'm really ill right now.
Yeah.
That's why my voice is a bit fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
I also have a bit rank, and also on the side of my tongue is making it quite painful to talk. So a
Right.
podcast wasn't really ideal for me. I'm
It's-
just committed.
Yeah, it's just weird how it landed. I was really ill during my episode.
Yeah.
You're really ill during your
Yeah.
episode.
It's just really annoying, isn't it?
Yeah. Have you got any news about?
I couldn't find
No.
anything
Okay.
other than what you mentioned to me last week about what's her name in Spider-Man 4.
Sadie Sink.
Sadie Sink,
Meant to be
MJ.
MJ.
Yeah.
They've kind of. She's been thrown up for a few roles, but until we get like a trailer, it hasn't even got a title yet, so we're not gonna know what people are doing in it. But I've got. I don't know if I mentioned this last week. Ted Lasso is getting a season 4.
Oh, okay.
Personally, I haven't seen it. Don't know about you.
I think I want to watch it
Yeah.
because Jason Sudeikis I think is
Mhm.
great.
But yeah, they've confirmed a season 4. I've got. There's been a release date for Happy Gilmore 2,
Yeah.
July 25th.
Yeah.
Very nice. A few weeks ago, more like a month ago now, a movie theatre ceiling collapsed
Damn.
in Washington during Captain America: A Brave New World.
Damn. So people couldn't watch it.
There was no casualties because there was only 2 people watching it. So the film being ass saved lives.
I mean, if there's anything to promote Captain America: Brave New World, it's that. Don't go and see it because you might die, but
yeah,
like,
well,
at least it's doing well for.
Just check out the ceiling before you go.
Yeah.
And I've got down here that Saw 11 has been cancelled.
Oh, I thought you said you saw 11.
No,
I was like
saw the horror
the
film
fuck is
Saw.
11?
That got cancelled, which it was number 11 in the franchise. So everyone's saying that doesn't that mean the Saw franchise is now cancelled? If they just have scrapped 11.
Yeah.
I don't know whether they've just scrapped the story of it and are going to redo it, but
Thing is, Saw 10, from what I've seen of it, seems like quite a good final movie. 10 is also a good number to end on.
yeah, well, it was Saw 8,
3 was
wasn't it?
probably a good one to end on.
Yeah, they just kept on going.
Yeah, I don't know.
And they did a prequel, didn't they? I don't know what it was.
I don't know. I've never been a massive fan of it.
Jigsaw.
That was it, yeah.
It's meant to have quite a good twist.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't watch it. But yeah, that's it for news.
Yeah, well, should we jump straight into Invincible? I really hope, by the way, at some point during this podcast, I can edit in a title card.
Yeah.
We tried to find...
We have tried, but...
There's like no title cards you can
CapCut's being
download.
annoying.
Yeah. We'll carry on trying, because that'll be just hilarious.
Yeah, it's very funny.
It's definitely not an overdone joke at this point.
Are you sure?
But yeah, so Invincible Season 1, we'll go into a quick recap. Obviously, we get introduced to a lot of the characters, and I mean, I'm just going to do a very brief overview. I've got like 4 lines for the whole season, and we'll just talk about it. You get the Guardians of the Globe scene.
Great scene.
Brilliant scene. Obviously, you meet Adam, Eve, Rexplode, Cecil, Omni-Man Mark, Alan the Alien.
Pretty much every character.
You meet, There's not many that get introduced later on that are massively important.
No. I mean, there's maybe one to 5, maybe. That's how they don't get a massive part.
You find out, we'll go sort of, the main thing we're going to be talking about is episode 8, so I'll go over that. You find, at the end, Mark finds out about what Viltrum really is. He's been told throughout the series that Viltrum want to help the universe and like all of that, which I guess they do in their own way.
Yeah, in a weird way of showing
it's more they want to expand Viltrum. And then you end with the best fight scene in animation up to that point. I will add that on there.
Yeah. We'll get on to our thoughts between each of the seasons later on.
So you binge watched Invincible?
I watched the whole of season 1 in one sitting.
Yes. When you watched episode 8, was it the best episode of superhero television you had watched?
Yes.
Yeah.
It wasn't the best episode of TV that I watched.
No.
There's 2 episodes in particular that stand out ahead of it for me. And that's Ozymandias in Breaking Bad. And I forgot the name of it, but episode 8 of The Penguin.
Okay.
Is that superhero?
I wouldn't have put it as superhero.
No, it's more of
there's
a drama
no
series.
super
in it. And there's no hero in it.
Yeah. But you said television show anyway, not superhero.
Yeah,
so
that's fine.
But at that point, it was probably in my top 3 episodes of television I'd ever watched. Easily in my top, like, it might be my favourite first season of a television I've ever watched. I can't think of anything to put it above. No. It's up there with X-Men 97 for me.
Yeah, definitely. For me, it's above.
Oh yeah, it is for me as well. Episode 8 blows episode 5 out of the water of X-Men 97.
Yeah.
And I'm very high on that.
Yeah. Well, we get. I'm skipping ahead of it. I was going to say we get a kind of season 5 in season 3. We'll get to it. I'll talk about it.
Episode 5, you mean?
What do you mean?
You said we get season 5 in season 3.
We get an episode 5 within season 3.
That's what I was confused about. I think, by the way, I'm noticing now, and we're only like 10 minutes in, I've said like 50 times, and I'm really trying hard not to. So, do we want to go on to season 2, or have we got more to talk about in season 1?
I think there's a few things we can talk about with season 1.
Yeah, I mean, season 1, I just think is brilliant. It has the best animation.
Yes.
Like, I would say continuous animation.
Yeah, all season long.
Yeah.
It has the best average animation.
Yeah.
Also, recently found out, I can't remember his name. I think it's Pow or something. The guy who creates Omni-Man and Invincible suits.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's voice acted by Mark Hamill.
He is.
He is. I recently found that out.
Yeah, he's brilliant.
Yeah.
Said it good. Yeah. I watched a video earlier about, they said it was Invincible's main problem in the fact that they must pay a lot for their voice actors.
Yeah.
They had quite a famous actor playing, what the aliens that come through the portal that get old really quick.
Yeah.
They had like a really famous actor playing those aliens, and they didn't speak English, and they had like 3 lines of dialogue.
Speaking of those aliens, one of my favourite scenes from this season is when, is it Team?
The original.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Mark, they come back like 3 times, and they struggle every single time to defeat them.
Yeah.
And then Omni-Man goes into the portal. It has Tom Tom the song on.
Yeah.
Whoa, that was a mouthful. And I love that scene so much. It just showed how powerful Omni-Man is.
It's one of my, it's I would say my second favourite scene from season 1.
Yeah. Well, number 1 is most of the last episode.
It's the first half an hour of episode 8, yeah. But yeah, I think that scene where he goes, I don't think you fully understood yet, Earth isn't yours to conquer, is the first sort of, like, obviously you get the Guardians of the Globe, but that just...
It was our first show at him destroying a civilization, not just...
and it's your first show of him, obviously watching it again, but at the time it's your first going, it's not theirs to conquer. Like, whose is it, sort of thing. It's your first one where you go, oh, maybe Omni-Man isn't just killing superheroes.
There is a lot of hinting during this. But yeah.
Yeah, I think season 1 is my favourite season.
Yeah.
Quite easily.
I've got a downside of season 1.
Carry on talking, because I'm going for like 2 seconds because I left the tissues.
Okay. The one part of season 1 I don't like, we can cut if you want.
We're back. Carry on talking.
You just have to remember to maybe snip that out.
Nah, we'll be fine.
Yeah, that's fine. We're original here. We don't like editing.
We keep it real.
Yeah. Season 1 was obviously the introduction to all the characters.
Yeah.
Especially Amber.
Yeah.
Yeah. I sent you a video earlier of, it was another case of how much they've changed the look of comics compared, which didn't bother
Amber
me.
for me, I don't know whether they wanted us to dislike her or not.
To start with, I don't know.
But the fact that I like the idea of a sort of, whether it's more realistic or not, but sort of the approach of, like, I can't, like, the pressure that's on a relationship when it's a superhero and a civilian.
Yeah.
Like, I like the idea of that relationship being shown where it's like, I can't have, like, you just going off all the time and me having to lie to my friends.
Yeah.
The problem is the way she does it is like she's treating her lying to her friends like it's a bigger deal than him being on, this is in season 2, but like him being on a different planet, saving that planet.
Yeah.
Like, that's the problem, is the way she portrays it is that her lying to her friends is a bigger deal than that.
Yes.
I like the idea of a real relationship between a civilian and a superhero, but at the same time, like, even in Spider-Man 3, when MJ and Peter get together, and basically you get a police call come over and she's like, go get him, Tiger.
Yeah.
Like, that's probably...
Yeah, there's
That's a nicer way of seeing it.
I've seen, I don't know whether it was in one of the comics and someone's done, like, you know when people, it like flicks through the comic, but people are like voice acting at the same time. And it's a one scene of Mary Jane talking to Spider-Man, and she just completely has a meltdown, and she's like, you're going to die doing this. I can't keep going back home and washing blood off my clothes to hide this from my mom. And stuff like that. And that's probably, out of any fiction, my favourite representation of a civilian superhero relationship.
Where it's like shown that it's a serious issue where like, because
MJ wants to be supportive, but also is struggling to keep it a secret, not trying to make her deals bigger than Spider-Man's.
One thing I will say, like sort of my last thing on season 1, I really like how throughout this whole show there's like so much attention to detail in, like, Mark gets his powers, throws a bag of rubbish into space, and then a couple of scenes later you have Steve, the bodyguard at Buckingham Palace with his stepson, and his stepson pushes him out of the way, and it looks like they're covered in blood, and then you see a Burger Mart box on the floor, and you realise that that's where the trash bag ended up. And it's little things like that that I quite like. Season 2?
Season 2, can I just say how much of a dick Rex was in season 1?
He's meant to be hated in that one. He's cheating on Eve. He's just a dickhead.
Which we'll get to the character arc soon.
Well, in this season you get the start of the character arc. Season 2 starts off on a different universe, with Omni-Man and Mark teaming up, and you get introduced to Winston Levy, who on that universe is part of like the Resistance. You get Atom Eve with no hair, and it's a bit of a crazy scene because it doesn't explain that it's on a different universe. You just get thrown into Mark in a normal suit, with Omni-Man wrecking shit.
Is it the one where they find the secret bunker with like all the civilians and superheroes?
And what is it? He Invincible turns to Eve and says, Eve, I could never hurt you, but you've given me no choice, and snaps her neck. And you find out he didn't kill her.
It's just paralyzed.
He paralysed her, and Omni-Man goes, that's what you were practicing. And then they say like, there's a riot in Budapest, I missed lunch or something. So it's a good introduction to. None of these are bad. Season 1 to 3 makes a brilliant show. Season 2 I would say is a drop down from season 1 for me.
I've seen things where season 1, 2 and maybe a bit of 3, as good as they are still so much better represented in the comics.
It's gonna be though, like I see people complaining about that, and it's like, it's hard to complain about 2 different versions of a thing where one can go into way more. Have you seen the size of the Invincible books? It's like insane.
And if they did every single page, the show would be 6 seasons long.
Exactly.
So they can't cover everything.
I can't remember what comes next. I think, is it episode 2 when Mark goes to the Thraxan planet? They come to him as Seance Dog and trick him and take him to the Thraxan planet. And you get that sort of ending shot of Omni-Man stood there. And you get the next episode where it's like they're hashing it out, and then the Viltrumites come, and because they're trying to get Nolan because he abandoned his post. They wreck the planet basically, and then take him away, tell Mark that he now has to fulfill his dad's position, which is takes a long time to come to fruition, but
yeah.
that's when we find out that Mark is now meant to be taking Nolan's place.
Was this on Earth? Because I think I'm getting this mixed up with.
This is on the planet with the bug people. Where
Also,
you
the
first meet
introduction
Oliver.
to Oliver.
Oliver, yeah.
Yeah.
You've got baby Oliver, who's half Thraxan, half Viltrumite. Obviously, we found out with Mark and Nolan, Viltrumite blood is so pure that they're basically pure-blooded Viltrumites.
Yeah.
Which is why, I don't know if you knew this, in the future, Oliver looks normal because he's grown out of his Thraxan blood, basically.
Right, so no longer purple.
Yeah, he's still like part Thraxan, obviously, but he's like the Viltrumite as it just takes over.
Yeah.
Like it's so pure-blooded. But yeah, I wrote something that happens like halfway through the season second. I'm trying to figure out what's next. But yeah, that's the first episode, the main bit in like the next part, and then you get the Lizard League, which they are on, I believe, going to Mars, and all of these little sequids, I think they're called.
Yeah, is that the Lizard League that go up?
No, so it's the Guardians that go up, and they're fighting the sequids, and that's why the Lizard League attack at that point.
Right.
They attack I can't remember if it's Team or the Guardians at this point, but they're attacking Shrinking Ray, Duplicate, and Rex, because they're the only ones left.
Yeah, and the girl that can transform into the
Monster Girl.
Monster Girl.
So you've got Duplicate, who dies in that fight. To our knowledge at the time, is completely dead. And then you've got Shrinking Ray, who tries to burst out of the big dude, but he's invulnerable to, like, his skin is so tough that she crushes herself inside of him. And then this is where Rex loses his hand and then gets shot in the head. And then the leader of the Lizard League is like doing his little monologue. Rex stands up, beats him to a pulp with the stumpy hand, which is crazy. And then he ends up going to hospital, getting better, and then the start of his arc is he's like, I can't be like this anymore, basically. And then you keep going, and is it throughout all this time that Angstrom Levy has been working with the Mauler twins, or is that just kind of like at the start and the end?
At the start and the end, I think.
Yeah. But yeah, so you've got Angstrom Levy recruits the Mauler twins because of their genetic knowledge. Angstrom Levy from the universe sets the Mauler twins free. We forgot to mention that. Angstrom Levy sets the Mauler twins free from prison. He has the ability to open portals to another dimension, but it's the exact same place in each dimension. He then brings a load of angstroms through, and he's trying to build a machine that will pull all of this knowledge. It ends up going wrong, kills all of them except for one, or just combines them into one person, I guess. And that's because the Mauler twins abandoned their post to kill Invincible. And so Angstrom ends up hating Invincible because we find out that the Invincible we're watching is the only good one in all of the multiverse. Which is quite an interesting concept. That every other Invincible either sided with their dad or went evil on their own. But yeah, so you get to the finale, and Angstrom comes through to kill Invincible. He finds Debbie and Oliver, because at this point they're back on Earth, and Debbie's looking after Oliver. And yeah, he just goes a bit crazy. The season 2 finale is like, it's nowhere near season 1 and season 3, but it's quite a good episode. When I was rewatching it with you, I was like, damn, this is. I think because I watched it thinking about season 1, episode 8 the first time, I was like, this isn't a patch, but it's still like quite good.
Debbie's arm gets kind of like
snapped.
Snapped.
And you've got you've got Mark being sent through all these different universes. He meets Batman, he meets talking dinosaurs, and yeah, he's getting sent through all these different universes whilst he's trying to fight Angstrom, and then fast forward a bit to the very end, Angstrom sends the both of them to this like desert plains, and Mark kind of lets loose because at this point he thinks that Angstrom is not superhuman but stronger than a normal human, so he's like letting loose, and you get this final shot of Angstrom's face, literally a mushy pulp, and like just blood sort of spurting out, and Mark screaming, I thought you were stronger, you told me you were stronger, which I think is a really good.
Good, because it shows at this point he still can't control himself.
And I watching season 2 for the second time, I thought it was way better than I did the first time. I think it was because I wasn't coming off of season 1, but I think that's about it for season 2, unless you've got anything else
nothing in particular. I think it's probably the most forgettable season. I don't remember a lot of like the middle episodes.
No, there's not a lot of subplots that I care about as much.
No. It all went wrong between Mark and Amber. That was season 2, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Towards the end.
Another person that we've like not talked about that you kind of get a bit more from in season 2 is Cecil.
Yes.
Because Cecil, who is the ruler, the boss of the GDA, the Global Defence something or other, he goes to Debbie and says, like, look, I can help out with Oliver. Obviously you get a lot of him in season 1 as well, with the whole Nolan thing. I don't know how I haven't mentioned him because I'm a massive Cecil defender. But season 2 I would say is the most, like you said, forgettable. I gave Invincible season 1 a 10 out of 10.
Same.
I'd probably give season 2 an 8.
That's what I thought.
But should we start on a bit more of a deep dive? So we're gonna probably talking about as much detail, but about each episode this time. So episode 1 is called You're Not Laughing Now. This is the one where we get Rex talking about his hand not working, and he says, my middle finger won't work, and then Mark goes, come on Cecil, it's his favourite finger, which I really liked at the time. You then get, I can't remember exactly the reason why it was them two. I think it was just because the thing that was going on wasn't a massive threat.
It was the thing with multi-pool.
So you get Rex and Mark called to stop. I think they're called Fight Master and something or other. They've got really stupid names, but they're like time travelers, and they've stolen the Declaration of Independence. And there's a bit of a funny like nod here, which you'd probably only get if you'd watched the whole of season 3, I think, or maybe you saw it in season 2. But Immortal, or the Immortal, reacts really badly when he finds out that they've stolen the Declaration of Independence, because he was Abraham Lincoln, which is quite a bit of a funny like nod again. But anyway, this is where you get Rex and Mark called there to stop them, and they end up getting away with it because Multi-Paul shows up and beats the ever-living shit out of Rex, because in Multi-Paul's like brain, Rex allowed his sister Duplicate to die. Obviously I can't remember if this is where you find out or if
it might be the end of this episode.
But you find out that Duplicate is alive. She hid a version of herself away.
Is it this season or season 2 when she kind of gets engaged with Immortal? Was it before she died or after?
Oh, good question.
I kind of want to say before.
Yeah, they're definitely sort of together.
Yeah.
I can't remember when they get engaged. But yeah, they've been, I think it might be season 2. But yeah, you then you get the training montage. This is at the start of the episode, which is brilliant. Where you find out that he's something like 138% stronger. He's like 50% faster. Like all of these different stats. There's a part where Donald, I think he lifts up an iceberg. Not Donald. Invincible lifts up an iceberg, and Donald says to Cecil, "Sir, that was the heaviest thing we could find." And Cecil says, like, "Listen, Donald, when did we ever let something like that stop us from saving the world?" Towards the end of this episode, you find out that Darkwing 2.0, who previously caused a load of people to die, has been rehabilitated and brought back to the Guardians of the Globe. I think this is also where you find out that what's his name? He was voiced by the Flash, the controversial guy, Sinclair.
Ezra Miller.
Yeah, Sinclair something. The guy who made the Reaniman, who like tortured William's boyfriend. Yeah, so you find out that it was really annoying me, I can't remember his name. That those two people are still not in prison, basically.
Is this the episode, or am I thinking of 2, where I forgot his name, the guy that causes all the earthquakes?
Seismic. Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah. Is it 1 or is it 2? I think it's 2.
See, I used, Google has this AI overview now.
Yeah.
Where, I basically typed in on Google, tell me everything that happens in season 3, episode 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
I didn't have to do it for 6, 7 or 8.
No.
But yeah, they didn't come up actually.
I wouldn't 100% trust
I did.
Google AI.
I did also. I did fact check it.
Only because going back to Inside, they searched up PK Humble's net worth. And Google AI said it was $50. So.
Well, when I was doing it for episode 3, it said someone who was in episode 8 and Mark have a massive fight, and I was like, that's not episode 3. But yeah, so you find out that Darkwing is still alive. I don't think this is where they go into the White Room. It might be though.
Yeah, I think it was.
Was that in episode 1?
I think it was shown in episode 1. Or was it shown in season 2?
The White Room was shown in season 2.
Yeah.
But it wasn't in this that happens, because I'm thinking of when all the Reanimen come out, and
that is later on. I want to say that's episode 2, because they go to the other, they go underground with Darkseid's Mick, don't they?
Yeah. That's the wrong page. I'm looking at episode 3. Yeah, well, we'll talk about it anyway, because we can go on to episode 2 as we talk about it. But there's the oh, I'm gonna sneeze. There's the part in the White Room where Cecil and Mark are having an argument about this. And I think it is episode 1, because episode 2 you get the flashback where it explains Cecil's thinking.
Yeah, maybe then.
But yeah, so they're having the argument about that. All of the Reanimen are coming out, because obviously he's still using Sinclair to create them, and Mark's just murking them. You get so many callbacks to the original Guardians fight with Omni-Man, with the head squishing, the cutting in half, all of that.
Yeah, it's a great parallel when you put them side by side.
There was a lot of edits where it was from season 2, I think, where Mark would turn around to Cecil and said, "I'm not my dad," and then it'd just go into the parallels.
Yeah. Let's be honest, you're a bit like your dad.
You are a bit like your dad.
Especially at this point.
Yeah.
And throughout the rest of the season.
It's a really good scene, and you find out that Mark has had Cecil has found a sound that was from season 2 that causes Mark to, like, he doesn't like it basically.
No.
And he chucks out his earpiece because that's what he's playing it through. And
it's not.
You find out that it's not that one, it's one that they implanted in his brain, which caused a lot of controversy. Everyone was like asking who you side with.
I think it was the most controversial one, but we'll get onto it. He makes a much worse decision later on, which
I have my thoughts about. But with this one, all the sneezes coming back. With this decision, my argument is, like you just said, he kind of is like his dad, and you can't risk that again. You've got to have some fail-safes in there.
No.
Unfortunately,
I do get that.
He is a 17-year-old
He is also half human, and they do have rights, because you can understand why every other superhero sided with Mark.
Yeah.
Because if they found out that every single one of them has that in them, you would freak out a little bit, wouldn't you?
Here's the thing. I think I said it to you. I'm on Mark's side, but I agree with Cecil.
Yes.
So far. And possibly in episode 8, but we'll talk about that in a bit. But yeah, episode 2, you start off and it's a flashback scene for like 15 minutes of Cecil when he's younger, and he's just working at the GDA. He's not like the boss or anything, and he's like finding a couple that are fighting and they're trying to release a poison gas. Cecil stops it for the most part. I think something like 100 or so people die. But a lot less than could have. And then you get a bit of a flash forward from that moment, and the current GDA boss is using those villains to fight for him. And then Cecil shoots them both in the head and says, "I don't work with criminals."
She's kind of hypocritical.
Cecil then gets thrown in prison, and he becomes like the big boss in prison. He then gets offered the job of the GDA overlord. Why can't I think of that word? The leader of the GDA. And the current leader of the GDA drops a bit of a bar and says you can either be the good guys or the guys who save the world. Which sort of, not foreshadows because you've already seen it, but at that point foreshadows what Cecil has to do. And then we go back and you've got Mark and Eve finally getting together.
Very nice.
They're talking and Mark basically says, "I know you think that being friends is enough, but it isn't for me." And they have that
and then he kind of messes it up a little bit.
Well, I think that's in episode 1, and that's why it's messed up. And then in episode 2, they're on the top of the Golden Gate Bridge, and then they're having that talk. See, I've got White Room down as episode 2, but we've already talked about it. You get the Guardians breaking up, which is after the White Room, regardless of when that is. And they're breaking up because some people are siding with Mark, some people are siding with Cecil. And Robot turns around and says, "Mark's the strongest superhero on the planet. I'd rather be on his side," sort of thing. Which is
fair enough.
True, You've then got episode 3, which is called, I didn't say the name of episode 2. They're all quotes from the episode. Episode 2 is called A Deal with the Devil.
Do we go back to the people who stole the Declaration of Independence in any of these episodes?
Yes.
Okay. I just didn't know if all that happened in one.
No.
Right.
Episode 3 is called You Want a Real Costume, right? At certain points in the show so far, Oliver has shown that he has powers. We've obviously had a big age up. Thraxons age a lot quicker than humans.
I'm guessing he'll get to Mark's age and then
the Viltrum
will slow it down.
Yeah, because they age a lot slower. Oliver gets his costume. Invincible get his new costume. Where do you stand? Do you prefer the old one or the new one? So obviously the meaning behind it is he's got to do some darker stuff now.
Yeah.
So he's got a darker suit.
I think I prefer the new one,
Mm.
but we'll get onto it later. It's not my favourite Mark Grayson suit.
It's not my favourite Invincible suit. I prefer the before one, yeah.
Right.
I think the black and blue is a bit too simplistic.
I think it's simplistic, but it's also quite funny because in every fight so far, he's ended up black and blue and covered in blood.
Yeah, true. For me, it just seems like a downgrade in terms of like suit making. Like the first suit seems like it should have come after.
Yeah,
in terms of like
Cecil might have been giving him some budget, and that's maybe dropped since Omni-Man.
Yeah, since Amazon stopped giving them as much money. But yeah, so you get them getting the new costume, and then there's a fight at the prison.
Mm-hmm.
You also find out a little bit that Oliver doesn't quite understand why everyone hates his dad.
Yeah.
He tries to call himself Omni Boy.
Or is it Omni-Man Junior? One of the two.
Yeah, one of them. And yeah, which I kind of get why Oliver doesn't get it, because
he's
Oliver
only
knows,
got the memories of his dad saving his civilization.
Yeah, and being a good dad, the same as up until he was 17.
Yeah.
Mark thought Nolan was great.
Yeah, I mean, all they really had to do was show Oliver a little bit of CCTV footage of what his dad actually did.
True, but he makes a good argument at some point where he's like, because obviously we're talking from the point of view of like a kid who doesn't quite understand the gravity of it.
Yeah.
Where he's like saved a load of people on my planet, and from what I heard, he saved a load of people here before as well.
Yeah.
And so from a kid's point of view, and also how you find out about Oliver's morality, he's like kind of outweighs it.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a couple of little bits in this episode. You get the fight at the prison afterwards, where Oliver jumps in, disobeys Mark a bit.
Yeah.
Jumps in, and then I think he gets not hurt, but like knocked down.
Yeah.
Invincible finishes the fight, and Oliver's like, "You didn't even save me one." You get Debbie telling Paul about her children being superheroes, which Mark isn't very happy about.
No.
I understand both sides of it. It must be quite hard dating when both of your children are
And your ex-husband.
Yes, Omni-Man.
Omni-Man.
So I get it. You also get Eve going to university in order to better her skills with her powers, which again is another thing that you don't normally see in like superhero media.
No,
and I quite like that little added bit. And then this one ends with the drone outside his window and exploding. Episode 4.
So 4.
Which is the one that I was saying earlier, we do go back to the time travelers. It's called You Were My Hero.
Right.
You get Mark attacking the GDA because of the drone. He believes it's GDA technology.
Yeah.
Spoiler, it isn't.
No.
And then you get him and Eve on a date, and then it gets ruined because a portal opens up.
Yeah.
The time travelers come through, ask him to come and help them. He says no. They take him anyway.
Yeah. And one of my favourite parts is when he puts on his suit and he's got his normal clothes.
Yeah.
And he says, "Oh, what should I do with these?" And a hand just comes through a portal and take it. And at this point, you don't know what that is.
Yeah, and then it circles back.
Yeah.
It's quite good. But yeah, do you remember much about this episode?
Yeah, I remember thinking the Immortal being left in charge was stupid.
Yeah.
Because he's not nowhere near as strong as
I hate him.
anyone else. Yeah.
So you find out that it's 500 years in the future, and there's society is being led by a tyrannical like overlord sort of thing, and it's not going very well. There's a curfew, everyone hates how they're living, and that's why they stole the Declaration of Independence. They thought it was going to help somehow, I guess. And then they find out that Mark is the only one stronger than Immortal, which is stupid because Immortal dies all the time.
Yeah, I've got a bit of a theory. Do you think that was the future from a different universe, and we will eventually get the emotional, not the emotional, he might have an arc, I don't know, the emotional thing of Immortal dying again, because if Mark and teamed up with Nolan, and obviously they take over the world and whatnot.
Yeah.
Obviously they could enslave everyone, like they try and do, and then just be like, we're going to go take over more planets. Immortal, you stay in charge and keep up what we're doing, which is what he's forced. Because they go there because he's killing everyone, isn't it? Pretty much.
Yeah. I'm not sure that it was a different universe. I don't think that future will happen now. Because Mark
but
now
that
knows.
Doesn't make sense.
Why?
Because they've been to the future, and it's like the time travel paradox.
I get that it's a paradox.
Really change it.
Paradoxes happen all the time in shows.
I get that.
And
but
stuff.
You would have thought they would have been a bit more smart with it.
I think it'd be cool if it was an alternate dimension. At the moment, I don't think there's any evidence that it is.
There isn't.
But I think it would be nice if we got like to see that, if you know what I mean. But yeah, this is the one where it's split in two. You get the credits, and then it's Alan and Nolan in space, which is my favourite half of this episode.
Yeah.
I much prefer it. You've got basically Alan has infiltrated this Viltrum prison and is trying to save Omni-Man. Omni-Man doesn't want to be saved because he was disloyal to his people.
Yeah.
Alan doesn't care because he's Seth Rogen or something. And Battle Beast is a prisoner there, and
we completely missed that out of season 2.
I need to sneeze, so I'm going to take it. I've been really trying not to sneeze. No, I can't. What the fuck? I can't do it.
Yeah. Do you need a light?
I don't think you've got one bright enough. I just stared at the sun. Oh. Uncut. Battle Beast season 2. I'll be honest, I forgot it happened because one, I forgot it happened the first time, and then this was an episode that you watched on your own when we were when you were watching it for the first time. So this was like, for me, when I was watching season 3, I thought this was my first introduction to Battle Beast, which it wasn't obviously, but yeah, Battle Beast is just on smoke 24/7. They open his prison and he's just like, where's the people to kill? And he has the fight with the Viltrumites. Is there two? Is he fighting two or just one? I think they're all taking one each, aren't they?
Yeah, there's guards, which they go through quite quickly, and then it's one each with Alan and Nolan. And they take down one. Battle Beast takes down the other.
And Battle Beast basically just really goes for the kill. Like Battle Beast can't fly, and the Viltrumites can, so he's just following the Viltrumite into dead space. And then this is also. Are they flying? They're not flying a Nissa, are they?
No, that's one of the later episodes, isn't it? It's in the last two, I think.
But yeah, obviously we missed the Nissa out of season 2 as well.
Oh, season 2,
But yeah, so you get Mark and Alan punch either side of a Viltrumite's face and just crush it in between, which is a cool little shot. But you also, in this half of the episode, Omni-Man tells Alan a bit more about Viltrum, in the fact that their numbers aren't as high as everyone thinks. There's like 50 of them left. 48 now, I guess. And so this is where I think they're calling it the Coalition of Planets, is the sort of resistance to their Sith,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of that episode. It drops on the bit of.
Yeah. Can we go back to Anissa for a second?
Yeah.
Obviously, there's a part that happens in the comic later on.
Yeah, which I don't think they're going to do.
No. Which, this is it's a spoiler, kind of, for the comics. If you don't want to listen,
Just
we're only going to be on it for like
double tap the
2
screen for a
minutes.
bit.
Yeah. Basically, there's a scene where Vanessa realises...
Vanessa?
Who is it?
Anissa.
Anissa.
You just said it. Don't. If you're going to say the word, don't.
I'm not going to. No, I'm not. They're running out of Viltrumites, and Anissa wants a pure blood one, and kind of travels to Earth and forces Mark to give her a child. To put it nicely. Doesn't go like that in the comics.
No, it's,
but,
it's a pretty horrific scene from what I've heard.
And then I don't think they'll do it.
You get a scene of Mark. It's horrible because the scene is as if he's coming clean about being assaulted. And he's telling Eve about it, and he's saying like he could have fought back harder and all of that. And it's a pretty horrible one. Oh, I was about to say something that was crazy. Anyway, episode 5.
Crazy.
Episode 5 is a filler episode. It is called This Was Supposed to Be Easy.
Yeah.
And it's the one where you've got the Order and they're trying to break Multi-Paul out of prison.
Yeah.
With Machine Head. It's not a bad episode, by any means.
Can we get to the point of how he gets out of prison? Is that this episode?
Yeah, crazy.
Which he goes onto the ceiling and then just overpopulates in there. And I saw something that was like...
Are you about to mention the meme that probably shouldn't get mentioned?
Did J.K. Rowling write this?
Yeah.
Because they've just made a Chinese guy and he's just overpopulated.
His power is overpopulation.
Anyway.
Yeah, it's a bit of a crazy one. This is the one where Eve's so stupid in this episode. They create a company because they need money.
Yeah. In season 1.
She turns an apple into pure gold.
And it was worth it was 24 karat gold. Which
crazy.
I'm not a gold kind of person, but it's a lot. I just know more carats is better. Or worth more. And so why
keep talking, you sound smarter every second.
Thank you. So why doesn't she just make lots of carrot apples? And
All
1 million carrots, please.
You've got is it a return of Machine Head? Or is this the first time we meet Machine Head?
No, it's a return, because he's in the same scene as Battle Beast.
He is, and then you've got Big Dragon, who also is a return, which I pointed out to you. You've got a scene where Debbie and Nolan in the first season are in a foreign country having dinner. There's a dragon attacking some buildings. Debbie says, "You're not going to go over and help," and Nolan's like, "I'm on holiday," and it's the same dragon. It's an old Chinese man who turns into. He doesn't even turn into.
No, he just kind of passes out.
He just falls asleep.
And I feel really bad for his, I want to say supervisor. He's a sumo guy. He just holds him when he's passed out, and he got folded up like an omelette.
You thought he did, and then in the end credit scene, he survives and he's reviving his master. It's a bit of it's a filler episode, so we won't talk about it too much.
No.
It's by no means a bad episode.
No.
It's just easily the sore thumb of the season. Episode 6. This is where it starts getting spicy. Episode 6 is called All I Can Say Is That I'm Sorry. This is where you get this is not about me. This is about the thousands of people. Invincible. And you've got all of the repeated title cards, and it's brilliant. I love Powerplex. He's just a generational hater.
Yeah, it's a shame that he cooked his wife a child.
Yeah, crazy that Aaron Paul lost the same woman in 2 different series.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, one to electricity, one to heroin. I don't think it's quite
No, it's not ideal, really, is it? But yeah, you find out that Powerplex, who isn't Powerplex yet, but I don't know his real name. His sister and niece were killed in the Chicago fight, season 1, episode 8, and he wants revenge on Invincible. He can't get that through legal battles, so he works at the GDA. He's got slight powers of like turning impact into electricity.
Well, he steals the plates, doesn't he?
Yeah, he steals the plates from the GDA and enhances his abilities. And then becomes Powerplex. I quite liked this episode. Purely, if I'm honest, because of the title card. I really liked that. Where am I on this? They go to the memorial, and that's where Powerplex sort of not introduces it. Is it the first time you see Powerplex out and about, or
in his suit? Can I just say something about the memorial? I've seen one person talk about it. The names on the memorials.
Glacier Peanut Smith or something.
I didn't see that one.
There's one called something like that.
Well, that might just defeat what I'm about to say. But one of the names that was picked out was a small, like, animator for TikTok who does, like, small edits and whatnot. So, in my mind, I wonder if they just took, like, a bunch of community names.
Glacier Peanut Freeman, not Smith.
Freeman.
Yeah,
like the Morgan.
Like the Morgan. I'm trying to think if that was a joke, but it was a joke. I doubt there's like one of the animators was called Glacier Peanut Freeman.
Well, poor guy or woman.
Either way, it's not great for them, is it? But yeah, the Powerplex fight. I thought it was very funny when Shape Smith came to save the day. One got murked once again. But also just no one knew his name. And he was like, come on guys, I'm Shakespeare, you know me. But yeah, this is also the one where you get, I would say, the best end credit scene of the season, which is with Angstrom, and it zooms out and you've got all the Mark variants. And now I've stayed in a quite nice place of spoilers where I know enough to get excited when I see stuff, because at that point I was like, damn, they're doing the Invincible War, but I didn't know what that was. I just knew it was cool. But yeah, we'll go on to episode 7. What Have I Done? It's called, which is the Invincible War. It's such a good episode. It felt like an episode 8, and it wasn't an episode
8. They doubled down with it this season.
Obviously you've got he just Angstrom sends all of these Invincibles across the world so that people are scared of Invincible. And they destroy everything. Mark first meets another Invincible. It's Mervinza Hawk at the prison, and they have a fight. He does the clap thing that Homelander does, and the second time I think Mark meets one is when it's the Mask Invincible, and
at the start,
fighting them.
At the start it goes for all of them, and it's I forgot the name of which one it was, but with the kind of viral TikTok one of "You're so pathetic, I wouldn't even keep you as a slave in my empire," which is. I found it hilarious.
Crazy thing to say. But you've got, I think he's fighting Mask Invincible, which is the one with the like flowy mask, and then Omni-Vincible.
I get that it's comic accurate.
I
kind of wish it was a bit more like, obviously each variant was cool. but I kind of wish it was more than just this one has a full mask, this one has
Yeah.
no mask.
There were 3 that were
Yeah.
just different types of
Yeah.
masks. But yeah, you get they're fighting Mask, Invincible, and Omnivincible floats down and said that these guys are giving you trouble, and he says fuck off, and then Omnivincible says swearing doesn't make you cool, which is kind of a good little line.
Yeah.
And then they're both fighting. So you've got the 2 Invincibles versus our Invincible and Eve. Eve is doing the glass thing.
Yeah.
Stop it, please.
Yeah.
I mean, we are 2 seasons and 7 episodes in.
Yeah.
By this point, it shouldn't take you another episode, I'll put it that way, to think of more than just glass.
No, and they thought about it a lot more than just glass.
Yeah.
We'll get on to that.
Yeah, but anyway, Eve gets her leg broken. Mark is then at the GDA hospital saying to Cecil, I can't leave. They know where this is. What if they kill her to get to me?
Yeah.
And he's basically, Cecil's sending every other superhero out. You've got Boss Baby, and then the guy he's fighting with, I believe, is called the Hunk.
Nice.
And the Hunk just falls on Boss Baby. I think he's called Business Baby, but he looks like Boss Baby. I'm pretty sure Business Baby is just a toddler in a suit who knows jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Which is a bit of a crazy thing to send out.
What a way to deal with my coat.
Yeah.
He just got fell off.
But yeah, so that fight's going on, and then you get, I think there's like 10 Invincibles left.
Mm-hmm.
There was 18 at the start, there's 10 left, and they're going like, where is Angstrom? He makes his dramatic entrance.
Yeah.
They all turn around and are like, we're done fighting, most of us have died, and he then sends them to the same universe that he pretty much died in. And then goes and finds Mark.
I didn't like how little they went into it. I want to say, is it Alternate Mark, the yellow and black one?
Sinister.
Is it Sinister?
Mark or
something like that. In the comics, he is so cool.
Yeah.
He kills Omni-Man.
Yeah, he kills his own dad.
He kills his own dad, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And in the comics, there's like, I want to say it's close to 75 pages just on the Invincible War, if not more.
Yeah.
And it goes into so much detail about each of them.
Yeah.
And
it's a massive. I mean, I'd heard a load about the different Invincibles, and then like things like Prison Invincible, Mustache Invincible, and Viltrumite Invincible, and then you get nothing of them. You see the Viltrumite one fighting Tech Jacket in space, and that's all you really see of that one. But yeah, they didn't go into a lot of detail.
No.
I think I don't think 2 episodes it would have been hard to make 2 episodes on the Invincible War work. So I get it, but it is a shame.
Well, in my mind, they shouldn't have done the filler episode and made it.
But yeah, so you then get a big fight between Angstrom and Mark, where Angstrom's sending all of these different drones out, and he's explaining how he survived. How he survived was he was, the technicians, these surgeons waiting in another universe so that he could open a portal and get fixed. And that's how he's still alive after the finale of season 2. But you get this massive fight, and then it ends with Mark holding Angstrom up, and Oliver going, "Come on, kill him." And Mark has a bit of a morality situation where he's like, damn.
He wants to kill him, but not in front of Oliver.
It's long enough for Angstrom to open a portal, fall back. Mark then reaches through, grabs his arm, and it shuts on him. You also get then, you find out that Angstrom now has to be a servant to the technicians because he didn't hold up his end of the bargain with them, which I'm sure we'll see where that goes. My favourite part of for it being such a good episode, we are now going to talk about
My go.
8 seconds
Yeah.
of my Are we talking about the same thing? The very end of this episode?
Go on.
Stand ready for my arrival, worm.
No, we are
Damn.
not talking about my entire goddamn skeleton dickhead.
How did I forget about that?
Yeah. I was waiting for that, and that was my recall to season 5 of.
Yeah, I don't know how I
X-Men
don't know how I just.
I'm
forgot about
tearing
that.
up thinking
Yeah,
about it.
it's
Man.
crazy.
I was at work the other day,
Yeah.
and they played the Billie Eilish
Yeah.
song, and I was a grown man
Yeah,
crying.
it's yeah. Sorry, let's go back. So yeah, you've got Bulletproof, Robot, Monster Girl, and Rex all fighting one of the Invincibles.
Yeah. Well, all episode we've had Shrink Ray
Yeah.
and Rex getting along.
Fucking hell. Yeah.
Like, but is it this episode that starts with them going shopping, or the one before?
The one before they
One
go
before.
shopping.
They go shopping, and
This
she
one
says,
is
"I want
she's
it."
moving into her
Yeah.
new place.
And before Rex does his thing, he
Mm.
goes, "Tell Shrink Ray, I'm sorry for not
I
helping
couldn't
her finish."
help her move, yeah.
Um,
But yeah, so you get them fighting. Rex then turns around to Robot and says, "You'll be better off with the person who can fly, being bulletproof." And he says, "Don't worry, I've got a plan."
Yeah.
They leave, and he says, "Idiots, they still don't know when I'm lying." And yeah, it seems like it's a pretty equal fight
Yeah.
between them for like 10 seconds. Rex is dodging the Invincible, he's throwing the explosives, and then Invincible's sort of like crouched down on this platform, and Rex like holds onto it like Gambit and explodes the whole thing, forgetting that Invincible can just fly.
Yeah.
And Invincible grabs him, and he says, "I've got one more trick up
nothing
my
on
sleeve."
him left to attack.
Yeah,
And then he says, "I have got one last thing.
Yeah.
My entire goddamn skeleton dickhead."
yeah, which
And then his
Is
whole skeleton glows up.
yeah.
And it's
You
such a
then
good
you then get the song "The Party's Over" or something.
Yeah.
When the party's over, I think it's called. Rex looks up, sees the explosion at the top of the Golden Gate Bridge, and Shrinking Ray is driving across the bridge
And sees
and sees it, and it's horrific.
Yeah. Would you call me crazy for saying that's my favourite scene in the show?
Like all 3 seasons.
Well, in that season especially, yeah. There's maybe 2 more, one in episode 8 of the season.
I'd give you favourite scene until the next episode.
So far, I would have it close to maybe a bit more above the Omni-Man in season 1, episode 8.
Damn.
It's on that level for me.
Like, damn.
It hits so hard. Like, I was explaining to you while I was watching this episode, I loved Rex. Even when he was a bit of a dickhead, I was like, he's kind of likable.
Yeah.
And
damn, that's. Don't get me wrong. It's like it's close for me, but saying it's above, like I don't agree. I get it, but I'm not there with you. But yeah, but then you get stand ready for my arrival, worm. And again, I'd been in a good position with spoilers that I knew that quote.
Yeah.
And I was like, God damn, we're getting Conquest. And he looks up, and Mark says, all of this is because of me, so right now all I want to do is punch something as hard as I can. And the episode goes black once they're flying together, which leads us on to episode 8, where you get the impact. And yeah, it starts off, it's called I Thought You'd Never Shut Up. It starts off and you get the impact of them punching each other. Conquest beats him into the ground. And it is then about 25 minutes of just Conquest beating the shit out of Mark. He sends him into space. Conquest turns a blood bubble into a love heart, and it's just the whole time you get a scene where Conquest says, right about now Anissa will be telling you not to resist and the benefits of the Viltrum Empire, and he says, I will do no such thing, I want you to resist, I live for this. And it's just
any other context, it's a little bit crazy. but it fits so well
Yeah,
for
and
who he is.
I want to say, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, voice act more.
Yeah.
I'll fast forward a bit to the I'm so lonely
That's
speech.
very far ahead. Can we go back to Oliver?
Yes, we can. Yeah. I forgot that was before it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's on the beach, isn't it?
Yeah, that's quite far
It's
ahead.
like the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go on,
Yeah.
Oliver.
Oliver sees it all on the TV, and goes as quick as he can. And one of my favourite parts is when Conquest punches Invincible and chasing after him. You could see them upping the mock of their speed each time,
Yeah.
and Oliver just can't keep up.
Yeah.
And then it comes to a stop, and is he strangling Mark, or has he got is he punching his head into the ground? Conquest, and then Oliver comes, punches him. And I said to you, I really hope he gets his moment to shine. And he just said, big ass beatdown incoming, and then just
gets slapped. The
10
fuck
seconds
out.
later is kind of being stretched in half.
Yeah. Because you get Conquest basically goes over to Mark and Oliver and says, "Let's talk, boy. I like to know who I'm dismembering."
Yeah.
And Mark steps up and tries to stop him, and Conquest just goes bang, slaps him through a building, and explains to Oliver what's happening to him whilst he's ripping
He's
him
only
in
a
half.
kid, man.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah.
Have you seen the Suits
Suits,
reaction?
yeah. I love
Honestly,
that guy so much, man.
I can't make fun because I just wasn't saying it out loud.
Yeah.
That's the only difference.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
If you're going to put something like that on the internet, you're going to get backlash.
Yeah.
Especially with people who haven't watched the show nor care for it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, you then get Mark saving Oliver, Conquest calling him stupid, and saying, "In the time I was killing the boy, you could have come up with a plan to stop me," which just shows the intensity of the Viltrumites. And he says, "Where's your Viltrum heart? I won't believe you have one until it's beating in my hand," which is just insane. And then he punches Mark so hard. This is where we start going. First of all, you get Cecil coming to save Oliver, pick him up, and then
Cecil just seems like he's always 10 minutes behind throughout this entire episode.
what's he gonna do if he goes there in the middle of the fight there?
Take the rest of the superheroes with him,
What do you mean?
because we'll get to at the end.
Yeah.
He turns up with literally the entire population of superheroes.
Oh, take the superheroes with him too there.
Yeah.
I thought you meant take Mark and Oliver away. I was like,
No, don't
that's
do
a
that.
terrible idea.
No, bring the other superheroes there to either cover him or create a distraction for Mark.
I don't think that would have done much.
No, in my mind, which is another thing I don't agree with, Cecil wanted Mark to die then.
I don't know if he wanted him to die.
Because then he wouldn't have to deal with another Omni-Man situation.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with that. I don't think Cecil wants Mark to die
Why didn't he turn up at the end scene then?
because he doesn't have his earpiece in. He doesn't.
He turned up 10 minutes later, so we knew they were there.
Yeah, because Eve has hers.
Eve was there, because he called Cecil when Eve was
Yeah, but Conquest wasn't dead yet.
No,
So, it would have just been an instant
I
death.
get that. But take the superheroes with him. He did that anyway.
Yeah,
He-
I don't know.
Him and the whole superhero population were just watching that go out. Okay, I can understand if he wants Mark to fight on his own. Go there for Eve.
Yeah.
At least go there,
I
pick
get what you
her up
mean.
and disappear.
It would have made a lot of sense if he'd gone there for Eve when they were fighting in the air, the same way he did for Oliver.
Yeah.
I get why they didn't do that because we wouldn't have got the Phoenix. But anyway,
I
we're
get
skipping
why.
ahead.
Let's go back.
So yeah,
Picks up his head, beach.
so he punches him and he's skipping along the water for across the whole ocean. And then he grabs him by the head and they have another train scene. Where he just Mark's head's body count is now higher than most of the other characters in this show. He kills the dog, which
Yeah,
I'm not
crazy.
happy with. And yeah, and then they're having the fight. Eve shows up, and you get this brilliant line delivery of like, no, you can't be here, because Mark just doesn't want Eve involved. Obviously, before that, Eve wakes up from when she had her like leg broken and all of that. Eve wakes up, and the doctor's like, you can't go yet, you can't even walk, and she's like, does it look like I have to walk? While she's hovering above the bed. And yeah, so they go there. Eve's using new powers apparently.
She can just suit up.
Yeah, throwing like maces and like increasing the density of the air.
Yeah.
And yeah, all this new stuff. This is because like what's his name, Conquest has snapped Mark's leg in half, so he's on the ground because that stops him from flying.
Yeah.
And yeah, this fight ensues where like Eve's kind of piecing Conquest up for a bit, and then he just grabs her, rips off all of the armor, punches her in the face, and it disfigures her face insanely, and then stabs her through the center. And as she's falling, Mark catches her, and that's when you get Cecil.
I need you, Cecil.
And you get Conquest like floating behind them, going, "We don't have this. Like, what a nice connection. We don't have this on Viltrum. It's a weakness, really."
He also goes, "How lovely," and then licks Eve's blood off his hands.
And then says, "I'm starting to understand why you like them so much," which is just insane. But yeah, you get. This is when they fly up, and Mark breaks his hand whilst breaking Conquest's gauntlet.
Which I didn't know this. Conquest didn't have the gauntlet in the comics.
Did you know?
No, because I watched Wafella from the Escape Pod podcast do a reaction to it, and he was there, and I think he knew about the comics. And he was just like, what's with the gauntlet? And it kind of wasn't explained. Like,
no, it isn't explained. It might be in. I could have sworn it is in the comics, because Wafella hasn't read any of the comics.
Maybe then, but obviously, like, you knew who he was. He might have known what he looked like. I think.
But yeah, he breaks the gauntlet, breaks his hand, and they're having this fight where Mark's just doing it like left-handed, and there's a point, which I'll say this and then I'll say my point. Conquest turns around and says, just because you're angry doesn't mean you're stronger. That's not how that works. And there's a theory that the reason why Mark is different to other Viltrumites, and why like he wins against all these Viltrumites that he shouldn't be, is because of the adrenaline, and that it doesn't work like that with Viltrumites, but because of his human half, it does. And that's the theory behind why he like beats all of these other Viltrumites. And so they're fighting with Conquest, and Conquest beats him into the ground and has his speech. I am so lonely. All of the other Viltrumites fear me. They think I'm out of control, which was not in the comics.
No.
And is possibly my favourite part of the episode.
My favourite line of all of that is, I don't even get a real name, only a purpose. Because his name's Conquest. And I found that really sick. I
skipped a part, which is my favourite line, possibly from the I am so lonely speech is my favourite moment of the episode. My favourite line is, I don't care how strong you are, I don't care how fast you are, I've seen the future, you don't live to see tomorrow. Which is just cold.
Well, he wasn't that good at looking at the future, because where it ends off, it's kind of hinting at something.
But yeah, so we get the fight, and I can't remember where I think Invincible is just like punching Conquest a load of times. Conquest grabs his fist.
Ooh, have we missed the part with Eve?
No.
I thought we have, because he breaks the other hand.
Yes, we have. So yeah, Eve, at this point, to our knowledge, is dead.
Very dead.
Has a phoenix moment from X-Men where she like floats into the air, and you realise that, well, you found out later on she had mental blocks put in her brain to stop her from being able to change organic matter.
And it's only something traumatized.
Sentient matter.
Yeah. It's only something traumatic that breaks those barriers.
And she basically turns Conquest into a Titan from Attack on Titan and burns off all of his skin.
Burns his skin and clothes off.
Yeah. And yes, something out. I think they're just fighting again, and Conquest says, "I've got enough fight in me left for you, boy," to Mark, and then breaks his hand.
Yeah.
And that's when you get the final scene of the fight, at least, where we just get a reverse rematch of Negan versus what's his name from Stephen Young's character from The Walking Dead. Where he's got no hands left, one foot, so he uses his head and just. There's a lot of pulp heads in this, but just beats Conquest's head into a pulp. And what he's doing is saying, "Are you still enjoying this? Is this fun?" And Conquest, through like a predator-style mouth, says, "I take the good with the bad," which is quite a good death line. Talking of death lines, we have been all over the place. Well, I've been all over the place at least with these episodes. Back to the "I am so lonely" speech. The reason it's my favourite is because, one, it shows that Viltrumite don't just not have a heart. And then at the end he says, "Now take it to your grave," which I think is so cold. He's just like opened up to someone and then basically is saying, "And no one's ever going to find out I said this because I'm about to kill you."
I thought he said that because he was over by Eve and said that, and then he said something like, "Have you got anything left to say to her?"
That was way before the speech.
Was it? Because I thought that was the line of, "If not, take it to your grave."
No, it was the speech where she says, "Have you got anything left to say to her?" is once he's floating after he licks the blood.
Yeah.
And then her hand stops moving and he goes, "Too late."
Yeah.
And then Mark says, "I've seen the future."
Got it.
But so you then get Cecil teleporting.
Yeah, then he turns up.
Yeah.
Better late than
He's
never.
naked. Woo!
Yeah.
But Conquest looks a bit like Predator. And what's directly after that? It's the funeral, isn't it?
It's the funeral.
Yeah.
It's Rex's funeral.
Rex's funeral.
They did him so dirty. Probably my least favourite part of that episode.
Yeah, it's
Robot goes up, doesn't really talk much on it, just steals his name.
Yes, steals his name.
And then Eve goes up and says, "Yeah, he took my virginity. He was my first." Blah blah blah. And then
he was my first, good and bad. It's like, oh yeah, cool.
It's not like he sacrificed himself.
Yeah.
For everyone.
And then you get what I thought was a bit of an odd moment. At least it was a good moment, but a bad time to have the moment, which was when Eve's crying and Mark is smiling at her and says like, "I thought you were dead."
I thought I lost you.
It's a good like moment to have, but they could have
not
done
when
it
she's
whenever.
crying about
Yeah,
her
they could have done it
ex-boyfriend.
whenever. He could have just been smiling at her randomly.
Scene after, they go and have sex in Mark's bed.
Crazy.
It's like,
yeah,
sure.
And
all she wants is an Invisidig.
And Invis.
Invisidig.
Yeah, and then you get the shot of it looks like someone's on LSD when they've drawn his suit, basically.
Yeah.
The melting suit, which
I've seen. Obviously, I've watched people's reactions. Some of them are good. They're like, "Oh my god." Obviously, I don't know. Don't know comics, don't know any of it. But people are like, "Oh my god, Mark's gonna have some kind of like overpowered suit." And other people are saying, Eve's abilities going isn't good.
Yeah, what I've seen people talking about how maybe she overexerted herself and that her powers are going awry, so to say. But we then move on to Cecil's decision.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying I agree with it. I have a very similar opinion to Weffello, which I don't know if you've heard it. Basically, it is the first chance that they've had to get information out of Viltrumite.
I get
Hold on. However, if anything goes wrong because of this, it is absolutely on Cecil, and I will absolutely turn my back on that man. However, right now, nothing has gone wrong. I'm not saying it's a good decision, I'm just saying I understand the decision.
Yeah.
But as soon as anything goes wrong, I'm like, you fucking idiot.
Yeah. My counter argument to that, well, kind of same argument kind of thing. There will be another Viltrumite come down to Earth.
Yeah.
And it probably will be a weaker one. Keep that one.
Yes.
Yeah. Don't keep Conquest.
And like get Viltrumite Mark or something like.
Yeah. Or send people out to look for them. Or
that's going badly.
it's going badly, or they know that planet's already taken over. Like, just go to one with a weaker Viltrumite.
I as I said, as soon as something goes wrong, Cecil, all the deaths are on Cecil.
Yeah. Obviously, Cecil doesn't know this because he hasn't watched the show. But we've got hints now that in the next season, Nolan's going to come back, get the information out of him. Obviously, he doesn't know that because he must be behind on the show.
He also, not only does he not know that he's coming back, he also doesn't know that he's good now.
Yeah.
But
going back to my thing earlier about a bit of him wanted Mark to die.
Yeah.
Because if Mark was to die, there would be no Omni-Man Volume 2, and he could raise Oliver the way he wants to.
There would.
Would there?
Yeah, because it'd be worse.
Why?
Because they'd have to send another Viltrumite to take over Earth, and there'd be no protection.
But going back to my thing, Oliver ages very quickly. It could just be the off-season of Cecil training him hard.
But what's to stop it with? I mean, it's worse with Oliver. Oliver is like 7 and he's killed 2 people and doesn't really feel bad
but
about it.
You can get messages in easier when they're younger, if that makes sense. And Cecil could be like, all the good that your dad did, we want you to do that good on this Earth and do that kind of thing. That's just a theory.
I don't think that Cecil wants Mark dead as of right now. I could see it changing.
Yeah.
Quite, and I don't think it'd take a lot.
No.
But I think Cecil's smart enough to know that Invincible is the strongest hero on the planet and is one of the good guys.
Fair enough. Well, when he wants to be.
Yeah.
And he's not threatening to kill Cecil.
Yeah.
Do you think, obviously, don't know, might be a stupid question, don't know about the comics or anything, do you think Cecil will live all the way till the end of the show?
I have no idea. I genuinely, none of the spoilers that I've had have involved Cecil. I have one spoiler that I know of, and that's it. I have no context for it. Yeah. So it's.
Will it be like the Invincible, where you'll be like, right?
Basically, I'm like, I know that happens. I don't know anything around how or why or so it hasn't ruined anything. I'm expecting something. But you also get Invincible saying, or Mark saying to Oliver, if anyone hurts our family, I won't hesitate to kill them. Like, you were right about the Boiler Twins, you were right about Angstrom.
I think Oliver will have a moment where he does accidentally kill someone because he knows his power. Obviously, we didn't talk about it. He killed both of the twins earlier on. I think he'll have that moment with someone close to him. I don't know who. Yeah. But I think he'll have that moment and then he'll be like, what have I done?
Like they'll get an argument or something.
Yeah, because I said it to you, and I would really want to see it. Obviously, I wouldn't say spoil the show for us. Don't do that.
No. Well,
nor put it in the comics. Nor put it in the comments if you know. But I think a Mark versus Oliver. Oliver? Who's Oliver?
Are you good?
No. Mark versus Oliver, when they're like around the same age, because obviously he ages quicker, would be cool.
Yeah.
Because they wouldn't want to kill each other. Well, Oliver might want to kill, because he said multiple times, like, if you kill someone, they won't do bad again, and they won't get in your way. Which the getting in your way is the big part, because...
And up until episode, like what we've just talked about, Mark was against that.
Yeah.
And now he's given Oliver a reason for killing,
to do it,
like, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Up until now it's been like killing is bad all the time, and now it's like killing is not bad all the time.
Yeah.
And that much ambiguity is enough for Oliver to just kill people.
Yeah.
You get the end credit scene on this episode.
Yeah, which is odd.
It's new.
It's very new. Wasn't done in the comics.
No.
Which comic readers can look at that one in two ways. Oh, it's cool. It's not going to get spoiled for me. Or why are they doing this? It's been a perfect adaptation so far.
So we won't talk about it too much, but basically Damien Darkblood's back. He's got his master, and he's basically said, there's someone really strong that I know how to summon him here and return you to your throne. I have absolutely no idea what this means, and I don't intend to find out. I want to be surprised.
Don't know if you can find out.
There's ideas that they're doing something in a different way that I do know of. I won't say it to you because in case they do, but yeah, that's our Invincible recap. Now, I think I might have asked you this earlier. The question I have written down is season 3 as a whole better than season 1 as a whole? Because I think episode 8 is better than episode 8. Like, season 3 episode 8 is better than season 1 episode 8. I'll put it this way, I don't think it is. I think season 1 as a whole is better than season 3 as a whole.
See, I'm very on the fence. I think season 3 might be a tiny bit better. Only because, like you said, it had 2 episode 8s, and episode 8s, like, I saw Alex talking about it on the Escape Pod. His favourite episode is the Invincible War. That could have been episode 8, but they decided to double down with it. I also think it's got more emotional beats with Rex.
I will say, these are my 1 and 2 favourite superhero seasons of all time. So it's not like these are very subject to change. You could change my mind right now, and you kind of are. So.
I think, obviously, it's hard to say. I think I prefer the season because it's all the characters are solidified, and you kind of gain that interest in the characters and the kind of relationship with them, which is why when everyone thought that Eve was dead, it was a sad moment. When Rex blew himself up, sad moment.
I'm gonna swap my answer around then. I'm gonna say that season 3 is better than season 1, but season 1 episode 8 is better than season 3 episode 8.
Yes, I will agree with that. I don't think season 1 episode 8 is as good as season 3 episodes 7 and 8 together. No.
But
as an episode 8, yes.
Don't
get me wrong, I have them both at a 10.
There's
very small things that like differentiate that makes them different. I don't know what's going on, but yeah.
Where does season 3 sit? Okay, not season 3. Where does Invincible sit in all-time television shows? Not animated, not superhero, television shows.
See, I'm not a series-heavy person. Second.
It's 3 for me.
Behind Suits.
1 is Suits. 2 is How I Met Your Mother.
Right.
3 is Invincible. And I'm doing that. I can't say objectively because it's not objective. This is just.
I have got a top 3. It's Breaking Bad at 1. Invincible at 2,
Yeah.
and the Penguin at 3.
Yeah, fair enough.
I think that's where it stands. Before coming into this and talking about each season episode, I would put the Penguin above the show.
Yeah.
But I have just had my eyes open this episode.
Yeah.
I love this show.
Yeah. I'm going to. So I've got 2 here that I'm doing for you.
Yeah, cool.
So you don't need any notes for the next
Very nice.
5 minutes. We've got King of the Hill. I'm going to be going through Invincible characters, and you're going to be putting. It's basically a King of the Hill for the most power.
Most power. Is that if you put them in a fight against each other, who comes out on top?
Not necessarily.
Right.
You can use your prerogative for this one, and I might ask you on some why.
Yeah, I'm going to try and not let character favourite.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what?
Yeah.
Go towards it. But.
So currently, the first one, who will be at the top of the hill, Eve's dad.
Oh, whoever's next.
Debbie. Paul.
Debbie.
Yeah. Powerplex.
Oh, Powerplex. That's a bit of a joke.
Darkwing version 1.
Powerplex.
Red Rash. Red Rush.
Powerplex.
The Mauler twins.
Powerplex.
Robot.
Powerplex.
Damn. Rex. Cecil.
Oh. It's tough. It is tough. So what's like the criteria?
Like power in the sense of like not necessarily like strength, because I put strongest, but I changed it to most power.
Yeah, because
like,
if we was just putting them in a fight next to each other,
like in the
Rex
same way,
will win.
if we're putting Debbie and Paul in a fight,
Paul would probably
Debbie,
win.
yeah, Paul wins.
Yeah, I don't know. Debbie seems like she's got that.
Dog, you know.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean, like
That Debbie's called Paul.
But yeah, like Debbie wins because she has more power over the series, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Probably Cecil. Then.
Cecil. Monster Girl.
Cecil.
What the hell does that? Oh. No? What the hell does that say?
His notes, by the way.
Yeah, my note. Oh, you'll understand why I can't read this. Mavinsa Hawk.
Who's that against? Who's last? Cecil.
Cecil.
Movin's a hawk.
Sinister Mark. Yellow and black suit.
Oh, Sinister Mark.
Anissa.
Sinister Mark.
Alan.
Oh. Sinister Mark. Can I explain?
Yeah.
Sinister Mark killed Omni-Man.
Mm.
I don't think at the moment Alan could kill Omni-Man. So power wise.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. I was going to say, do we know that Omni-Man was a strong, but we don't know either way.
We don't know.
Invincible.
Invincible.
Damien Darkblood.
Invincible.
Omni-Man.
Omni-Man.
Conquest.
Omni-Man.
Damn.
Yeah.
You think they would?
I would pay to see that fight, man.
Oh yeah.
Can you imagine that?
However, they have explicitly said in the show, Conquest is stronger than Omni-Man. But that isn't the criteria, so it's completely up to you.
From what we've seen, we've seen Conquest take out like a city. Yeah. We've seen Omni-Man take out some like civilizations.
Yeah. Angstrom Levy.
Omni-Man.
And Oliver.
Omni-Man.
Okay, I think that's a fair enough King of the Hill.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're going to be doing Speak When You Hear a Better Movie Than.
Okay, so going away from Invincible for a second.
Yeah.
Or do
we
you
can do that last, because there's another two Invincible ones after.
Yeah.
Okay, do you want to do the characters draft next then?
Yeah, let's do the draft.
Yeah.
Nice. Is this? What's the criteria for this? We're not putting the.
I'm gonna say
Put the two teams against each other.
no. We could do, to be fair.
Well, let's do it on a different criteria, then do that.
What I am gonna say, you get one invincible.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. You got like, you can pick any of them, but
Yeah.
you get one.
Okay. Omni-Man. I will take Omni-Man.
Mark, R1,
Yeah.
Conquest.
Okay. I'm gonna take.
I've had this pen on my ear the whole time.
I'm gonna take Alan.
Okay. So we're putting them against each other.
Well, let's just do a draft
Okay.
and then put them against each other.
Eve.
Okay.
Who did you pick?
I've got Omni-Man and Alan. I'm gonna take Battle Beast.
Okay. I'm gonna take Angstrom Levy.
Cool. So you've got 4, I've got 3.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take Rex.
Okay. I will be taking. I'm assuming we can't take any that aren't in the show yet.
No,
Okay.
we can't do that.
Then I'll take Cecil.
Cool. Okay. I'm in between 2. Can I say the 2?
I can't take him, so.
Okay. It's between Oliver and Powerplex.
Okay.
Said them out loud. I'm gonna take Oliver.
Yeah. Any
Honourable mentions.
honourable mentions?
Yep, I've got Robot.
Yeah.
Powerplex, obviously.
Yeah.
And that's it. That hasn't been taken.
The only one I have that hasn't been said is Debbie, but that was before we said
They're gonna fight.
They might
Yeah.
fight.
Yeah.
The only thing I was thinking, if Debbie's on my team and so is Invincible, our team's winning.
Why?
There is the way Mark fights. There's no way.
Yeah, fair enough.
If Debbie dies
Against
he's-
Oliver.
What do you mean?
Because I've got Oliver. So there would be a part of him that wouldn't want to do that.
That is true.
And I've also got Battle Beast, which at the moment probably fold Mark up.
However, I can leave Oliver to some of the others, and once Oliver's dead, it's fair game.
I mean, you should have took Paul.
But yeah, so I've got Mark, Cecil, Conquest, Angstrom, and Eve.
Right. I've got Rex, Omni-Man, Alan, Battle Beast, and Oliver.
You've got 2 there that are carrying the side,
Which 2?
Omni-Man and Battle Beast. Well, no,
Alan not up there?
yes and no,
Not yet.
only because I have Mark and Conquest as well. So I would say Alan could probably take out the rest of my team,
Mhm.
depending on how
Yeah.
Eve feels that
Yeah.
day, I guess.
I mean, Debbie is just Omni-Man's pet.
What do you mean?
Because that's what he said in season 1, wasn't it? Like,
I haven't got Debbie though.
no, you haven't. Ignore me then. But I still think we've seen it before. Omni-Man has folded up Mark.
He has, but he's now like twice as strong as he was.
Oh, yeah.
And Conquest is meant to be stronger than Omni-Man, and he just folded up Conquest.
Yeah.
And I have Conquest as
Battle
well.
Beast.
Battle Beast is the one that scares me. However, we're not going to decide this.
No.
So we'll leave that one up to
Yeah.
the comments.
Cool.
All 0 of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay, so did you write a blind ranking?
I did. Do you want me to do mine first?
You do yours first.
I will put the number next to
Yeah.
it so I know. Cecil. This is out of 5.
Okay. 2.
2. Oliver.
4.
Powerplex.
3.
Robot.
5.
Nice. Eve's dad is your number 1.
I knew you were going to do this. I knew you were going to do that too, man.
So you've got Eve's dad, Cecil, Powerplex, Oliver, and Robot.
Damn. I literally would have been happier with any other version of that.
I can talk with a ball if you want.
No. I'd prefer it, but... Okay. Alan.
See, I think you're going to be the opposite side of the spectrum.
I think we are, yes.
Yeah. 3.
Cecil. Oh wait, I should probably write these down.
5.
Damn. Mark.
2.
Conquest.
C. There is one person, and that would be 1 instead of him.
Yeah.
I don't know if you got him down, so I'm going to put Conquest at 1.
Yeah. So you've got Omni-Man at 4.
That was the one that I didn't want.
You did yours getting worse and worse.
Mm.
I just wanted you to have a good character last.
Yeah.
I didn't care who was first.
I'm still...
Conquest being first is fair enough. But
See,
Omni-Man being a 4 is
going back to it, I would prefer Omni-Man 1,
Mm.
Conquest 2, Mark 3, Alan 4, Cecil 5.
Yeah, I'd have preferred anything.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
Can I talk about something about the last episode of season...
No.
about season 3, episode 8?
Yeah.
It currently has a 9.9 rating on IMDb,
Yeah.
which is second ever in TV.
Yeah.
That's probably going to go down.
Yeah.
Because Ozymandias, which is
At
number
this
1,
point?
Ozymandias at number 1 has 235k ratings, leaving it at 9.9.
Yeah.
Invincible has 66k, so I don't know if the average of the next 150k people
Is
will average
Breaking
9.
Bad 4 times more popular than Invincible? I would say
yes,
it's close to being that.
but it's more impressive 4 times more people thinking it's a 9.
Oh yeah.
Which is why I'm saying I don't think it will ever be number 1.
I'm just saying, yeah, I don't think it'll be number 1.
I think it could stay top 5.
I don't know if the rating will go down much. It might go down by 0.1.
Maybe. It will
but
stay
at this
around
point, I
that.
think all of the people that have rated it, or
Have
most of them,
Yeah.
like all of the people that are gonna rate it,
Yeah.
have rated it.
You have also got to think IGN put the last episode at a 4 out of 10,
Crazy, by the way.
which is wild.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So we're gonna do our last little segment, unless
Yeah.
you have anything else.
No, I got none.
So we're gonna do speak when you hear a better movie than Good Will Hunting. Put a load of thought into this.
Yeah.
I wrote down the exact one that you said. Okay. So what do you want to do? Do you want to tell me a noise you're gonna make?
Well, I'll just speak.
But what are you gonna say?
I'll be like, no, I don't think. Or yes, I do think. It's...
Boring. What's your noise? Make a
Boing.
noise. Boing. Okay. We have a noise. Captain America 4. Brave New World. Star Wars. Rise of Skywalker. Fant 4 stick. Star Wars Episode 3. Damn. We might have 5 minutes of silence now. Spider-Man 2. The Avengers. The Perks of Being a Wallflower. Mickey 17. Seven. The Green Mile. Interstellar.
I haven't made the noise. I can't say something about it.
Nope. Oppenheimer. The Dead Poets Society. Into the Spider-Verse. Across the Spider-Verse. Both Dune movies. After Sun. Well, just pick your favourite movie.
It's in my top 5.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Gladiator. Alien. Chasm 2. And that is the end of today's Donnie Darko.
Yeah. Boing. I probably should have said it for Interstellar, but
Yeah, I'm like,
I'm
very shocked.
I prefer Interstellar. I don't agree that it's a better movie, if that like makes sense.
See, I think Dead Poets Society is a better movie. I have that too. In Good Will Hunting at 3.
Let me have a look at what would have beaten it if you was to say it. The Dark Knight. Maybe The Silence of the Lambs. Maybe.
Damn.
No, probably not.
I don't think it is. The Shining.
If you said Up, I would have done it.
Yeah.
But that is just personal preference. The Empire Strikes Back.
I thought I'd have like a couple there. Like Revenge of the Sith, I thought you were going to say Boeing.
Well, I've got Good Will Hunting at 5. I have Revenge of the Sith. If you said Empire Strikes Back, I would have said.
Yeah.
I would have boinged.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah. But yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's
Donnie
it.
Darko.
I didn't even have that on there. I was like, I need something. That's that's the last part. So I think we're done here.
Yeah. Very nice. What do we know about next week? That will.
It starts on the 24th of March. It does.
No.
Nothing really. We haven't got anything planned yet. I doubt it's going to be a franchise one.
No, it'll be a segment one.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
we'll.
well, as you can tell, we're professionals.
Yeah, professional.
Nice.